everyone, welcome to episode 10 of my podcast channel, Biz Talk with Emmanuel. This time, my guest is Ben Watson of Omron, who as of the 7th of October 2019 will be joining Madison Technologies as the Business Development Manager for Victoria. Ben's professional background comes with over 24 years in technical sales and marketing. With the last 5 years in industrial automation at Omron, Ben has been a key integration team player with large projects with innovative engineering and working into new vertical markets for industrial automations. Hence my interest to get Ben to talk about the case for innovation. You see, for many companies, the huge cost of innovation can often become the biggest barrier for implementation. Now, in this episode, we discuss how to see this cost from a different perspective and see the cost of actually not investing in innovation. Without further ado, please welcome Ben Watson. Hi Ben, thank you so much for being in this podcast. I really appreciate you giving the time. Now, we're here to talk about the case for innovation, and obviously a lot of words going around now that we have to innovate or die. So when people want to make a case for innovation, what are the things that they need to consider before they doing that in their company?
The reason why they would look at innovative solutions would be to reduce costs. They may have to look at improved quality. They may have quality issues. And also, once you have production at the level that you need, you probably want to increase your productivity by throughput. And each of those has their own challenges. And Omron has proven in each and every field of automation. And that's proven through certain case studies that we can provide.
So, one of the biggest hurdle in anybody trying to implement an innovation or to roll out new innovation is the cost elements. And not just cost, probably two things if I can nail it down. People always complain about, it's going to cost too much, or it's just going to take up a lot of my resources, my staff time. So
yes. So the biggest hurdle with when we're solution selling and not just selling components, such as sensors and relays, is these innovative solutions are an actual part of their integrated systems and would always have a capex, and each capex would need to go past a board, and everyone on that board would need to be on the same page to improve the situation they're in. So there's advocates, and then there's people who would like to challenge our offering, and there's also the accountant, the bean counters, the people who go, why are we spending this much money when we've got this much staff? We're doing well. Part of this solution selling is we cover that. And that's part of a topic called OEE, which is overall effective efficiencies of machinery. And return of investment is probably the first one, that if we can show, if you were to relocate, basic repetitive jobs and put them into higher valued jobs, that particular role we can prove with the cost versus the labour that you just spent on that person. And generally, people are looking for return on investments between 12 months to 3 years. And for that return on investment, we work with our advocates in that company to help them achieve what they want. So we work out the costs, they tell us how much the staff are, and that's how we work out our budget. We don't just go in there and go, this is the price, and then let them work it out. No, we go in there, we know what they're spending on labour and other challenges, and we try and achieve the project result by getting the project under that amount that they're spending in the time frame they want to get their investment back on.
So let's drill down on that OEE, overall effective equipment.
Yep.
So is that a calculation or what is that?
It is a calculation. And that calculation, there is a website which goes into the different formulas and different ways of looking at it. And yes, so it's the cost, as I said before, a return on investment is probably the first one everyone knows about, but it may not be. It may be productivity. You may have downtime on a machine, which is unexpected. If you were to monitor that machine and predict when it's going to go down and replace the parts ahead of time, your productivity is going to increase and you'll be prepared for when you're busy. You don't want your machine to go down at your busiest time. So that whole OEE covers many, many different topics of automation, and it's probably the first point that any general manager or board of directors are looking at ways of improving their profitability and throughput and their brand name, especially their brand name. If they can get their quality and reduce defects and imperfections on their product, it could be from packaging, food, even to logistics of trucks rocking up too late and taking up time in bays. That's all part of automation, and I've been across a lot of projects where they've been left afield, and we've been able to help provide that solution through automation. And it's all innovation, and mostly here in Australia. There's no other site like us here in Australia, so everything we come up with is unique, and we have a team of engineers here that support each project, and we go through it all.
So obviously innovation covers a lot of things, not just automation. But I want to drill down to automation, because you guys, Omron is a specialist in automation.
Yes.
What are the things that a company is looking at before they start automating their entire?
Well, the first question I always get asked is, how much is it? Well, that's probably the wrong end of the scale, because you're just comparing money to money. We look at it as how can we make your company better and get to where you really want to be. So if the company has a business plan, and most companies do have a minimum 5-year business plan and plus, so they would have had a strategy in place. We just need to find out what that is and be on the same page as where they want to be. So it's not, there may be a problem and a solution, but they may be replacing that whole line in 5 years' time. So we need to help them look past the immediate issue and look towards where they really want to be.
So Ben, the reduced costs and improve quality, and obviously reduced cost is, you're talking about the overall cost, not the initial cost.
Yes.
So reduced cost and the improved quality is usually the usual suspect that people are going for when it comes to introducing innovation or automation. What other things?
The biggest thing, once you've got your reduced costs and your improved quality, and you're becoming a well-known brand, the biggest thing in the market is that you want to increase your productivity through throughput. And to do that, the biggest things that you need to look at is machinery downtime. So you need to reduce your downtime and increase your cycle time on repetitive jobs. And then once you've looked at all of that, is getting the bits in between. It could be from procurement to moving things around in a warehouse, and that's through effectiveness. Is using the right tools at the right time.
Ben, if you can give us some examples about what you just discussed about throughputs, if you have some case study or clients experience.
Yeah, certainly. So the biggest thing with throughput is, for instance, downtime. Your machine goes down at the peak periods, so your productivity would go down, and you have people standing around doing nothing. So it's costing you money, not only with labour, but also not having product to sell. If you could predict when a machine needs to be maintained, and you could do it at the times that you want to do your maintenance shutdown, it could be on a long weekend or whenever. If you were to be able to replace the wearing parts in advance, it may be only at half life cycle until when you're running the next downtime. But you will save in return no downtime or reduce downtime. The other factors when you're looking at throughput is you would like to increase the cycle time of the repetitive jobs. So you'll be looking at human labour versus machine labour. So that's done through simulations, and we actually have software for our robots here where we simulate the weight of the product and put it into a simulated world and prove to the customer that yes, that we can do it. And then we have actual physical robots at different sites. We have 3 or 4 here in Melbourne, and we can replicate using our actual robots and then demonstrate that part of the job that, we can increase the cycle time of, it might be a pick place, it could be a pharmaceutical or a clean room situation where you would want to put automation in, but you're worried about dust and everything because machinery collects dust. So we can simulate that as well for you. And those situations, you have a case study of your actual application before you even start. So when you go to your board of directors, you can show them simulations, actual demonstration using real robots with your product, with robots, vision, in just that sort of micro environment before it's implemented. Because some of those jobs could be anywhere from $50,000 to $1 million on a CapEx. And that's generally where the CapExes are usually at. And it might take 18 months to 3 years before it gets approved, or there's a time allocated to put that line in. And those projects, we can get across. And then the overall, once you've got those two in place, is then you'd be looking at effectiveness. Is how effective is everything else around what we're trying to achieve. So it could be helping to reduce distractions. So if you're in logistics and you have your high value product and you have a picker at one end of the warehouse who wheels a trolley down to the other end, he might be distracted talking to other employees or distracted by something else that's going on in the warehouse. So we have actual, real sites where we've got mobile robots taking, tubs of high value product from one end of the warehouse to the other. It keeps the employee focused on their job and it increases your pick rate. And so you have pickers just picking for the whole day instead of walking around for 2/3 of the day. So with those effectiveness outlooks of how you can get things done is mainly to do with logistics. It could be with people, product. It could be the data. Is how do you look at everyone talks about Industry 4.0, how to collect data. Well, when you're looking at data, you need to collect it first and then work out what to do with it. So there's simple programs based on Java where you can run on any platform from an iPad, iPhone to a laptop in a warehouse. And with those scalable programs, you can have the people on the floor have live data and you can see which lines are running slow. You can reallocate staff. You can put them, you can reallocate things on the fly. So if you have live data with, which is visual for the decision makers on the floor, you can make a better effective team.
Right. So just to summarize, we previously discussed about pretty much 3 benefits of having an innovation, and in your case is the industrial automation, which is reduce costs, secondly improve quality and throughput. Now, typically what determines the company ability to realize what sort of things that company usually?
Okay, so with brand, a lot from what I'm seeing in Melbourne, in what the areas that I look in, packaging, is an aging workforce. Those aging workforce have probably been using the same machinery for the last 30 years, been doing the same job for that long. When they retire and the replacement people go in there, you won't have the same sort of people who are that dedicated, and you'll probably have a higher turnover of staff. So you'll have staff turnover, people who are not knowing how to use the machinery. Those simple tasks where you've got an aging workforce who are on a lower wage than the current people who are looking for work, that's when you look at how do we automate those jobs, because over the last 30 years, those machines may have been modified probably 20 times and they've known how to tweak it if it doesn't work that way that day. So I've been working with certain sites where they have done their homework. When those people retire from their jobs, they will semi-automate those machines so that the production manager who's on site will know how to deal with it, and then they don't have to have 30 years of knowledge of how to deal with it. So there will be a a control system which can monitor before failures, how to put a machinery in a certain way. We have systems where you can have a working order procedure on site, where you can have a video. So if you walk up to a machine, you can do the training at the machine.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to take the automation and keep your employees, keep them educated to what's going on, you can have the whole worksheet, videos, trainings, everything at the machine, just in case they forget.
So it sounds like companies need their own strategy just to implement this.
They do. Each site, even if it's the same company, will have a different dynamic of staff and team mixture. So you might go to a site where everyone's between the age of 50 and 60, 70. And then you go to another site and everyone's 20s to 30s. And those cultures are very different. So today, with people in their 20s and 30s, are happy to use a machine where you can just tap on the screen and a video pops up and it's like a YouTube. And then it teaches you how to use the machine. Right. Where you've got an aging workforce that want to sit down and do a proper training course. Well, each situation is different, and so you would set up each site accordingly. And with those in mind, with all of the Omron material, you can do that.
So really, to sum it up, how soon the companies can realize this benefit depends on where they're at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
So a company may be a well-established company, it may be a new startup, but each time that you're looking at these innovative solutions, you may be just looking at simple things as traceability, which is driven through food. Food traceability is the biggest one. And there's been examples of that in the media where people have got sick from eating salad. And it was traced back to a farm in Bacchus Marsh where it rained one day and the furrows of where they put the fertiliser flooded with water, reached the leaves, and when they picked the lettuce, and then because it goes straight from the lettuce to the salad packers to the shelf within 3 days, they were able to trace it to the actual farm of where it was picked. So food traceability in Australia is very high, and other industries are only just getting onto traceability now. And that could be machinery, parts picked. You want to be able to trace it down to the cause. And I'm safe to say it's probably Australia is the only place in the world where if something is wrong with our food,
we know.
We know. and that's a great, and the biggest thing you always see is powdered milk in the supermarkets or at the chemist is a limit to 3 or 4 because people are exporting it at domestic level back to China because they don't have the safe milk products they do. They have copies of our product on the shelf. So you do see overseas people trying to copy Australian food, but it's not to the same quality. Our brand names are quite high, from wine, food, and also engineering. So military devices, our Bush Ranger, the Bushmaster, the vehicles. Everyone around the world loves our engineering because if we can't have something, we make it happen. Like drying your clothes, Australia came up with the Hills Hoist. The Hills Hoist, the clothesline.
Right, yeah. I noticed that.
So innovative, that's part of it.
We don't get enough recognition for that.
No, simple things. So all of these innovative designs are usually designed here in Australia because of how remote we are and limited resources. That we have a lot of engineers here now in Australia who design stuff around the world. There's just around the corner from us is a design centre of just a bunch of engineers who do projects for their company globally. We've got some of the best universities here in Melbourne where they're supported to come up with those innovative designs.
What about Omron itself?
Yes, with Omron, over the years, Omron has been known for relays, sensors, and PLCs, control stuff.
Programmable logic control.
Yeah. So there's a gap in automation where Omron has filled. They have bought robotic companies, they've bought synchronous controllers, they've bought vision companies, so it's Microscan, Adept, and Delta Tau. Those companies were purchased just to fill the gaps in automation at the high end, so they could provide the full solution for those problems. And then coupled with that, the rest of the automation solution are partnered with those new technologies. Here in our office, we do training sessions where the engineers or even the general managers can come in and see those new technologies and be at the forefront of technology and have the latest opportunity to do everything we just said in the last few moments. Yeah, these innovative solutions are cutting edge, and it changes within every 6 months. There's something new coming out all the time.
That's awesome. Sounds like Omron have a lot to look forward to in the next few years.
Yes.
So how do we get in touch with you if people want to know more?
Yes, you can. I'm on LinkedIn. You can contact me through email, ben.watson@omron.com.
Omron?
Yeah, so, yeah, Omron, yep. And I'm in the most times in Mount Waverley on a Friday.
Mount Waverley, Melbourne, Victoria.
Yeah, we have our engineering office and training office, and I believe we're running a OEE seminar in September. Drop me an email and I'll send you an invite. If you need to talk about just simple things, give me a call.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Ben. And hopefully this is not going to be the last podcast. I'm looking forward to have you in another episode in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed and find value from the discussion in this episode. Don't forget to leave some comment or write your review on iTunes. I'm really looking forward to hear what you think about this podcast. You can also leave your comment on my Facebook page, BizTalk with Emmanuel. If you have any question about anything we discussed in this episode, feel free to send me a message using the button provided on the page. Until next time.